Hari Om Tat Sat. Welcome to Jyotirmayananda Society, a journey to self-realization. Please subscribe for the mystical meanings of the scriptures and to enjoy daily satsang with us. We are currently exploring the book Yoga of Perfection, which is a summary of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Commentary is by our Guruji, Swami Jyotirmayananda Ji Maharaj, and narrated by myself, Swami Nikhilananda. Today we are covering Shloka number 66 from chapter number 2. The shloka is Nasti buddhirayuktasya na chayuktasya bhavana na cha bhavayatah shantir ashantasya kutah sukham. Meaning, there is no intuitive intellect for one who is not united with the higher self due to lack of self control, and there is no meditative movement in the unsteady mind, and to the unmeditative, there is no peace. How can there be happiness to one who is without peace? Explanation. This verse emphasizes the points that are set forth in the last verse that we discussed yesterday. When the mind does not dwell upon objects, a yogi becomes united with the higher self within him, his deeper being. Therefore, he cannot see happiness in the passing objects of the world. He is now established in the self within. His intellect, rising above the egoistic structure of the mind, enters into the plane of intuition. He develops Brahmakara Vritti, his mind flowing towards the ultimate reality, Brahman, or the Absolute. This is the meditative flow of mind. In the absence of this profound movement of the mind, there cannot be peace. The unconscious will continue to harbor the impressions of desires, cravings, and egoistic movements of the mind. It will continue to maintain seeds of confusion and tension. In the absence of peace, the bliss of self cannot reveal itself in all its fullness. However, when the mind flows to Brahman, the unconscious impressions based upon egoistic vision of life are destroyed. Through deeper meditation, it's like changing the grooves within. There arises peace and tranquility in the mind as a result. The mind becomes like a clear and placid lake, reflecting the grandeur of the infinite sky of the divine self. Therefore, there arises infinite bliss, bhuma, and that never goes down. That's the beauty of that word bhuma, meaning infinite, abundant. It increases in geometrical proportions, whereas we well know in this world, adversity is followed by prosperity, and prosperity by adversity. There is no such thing as total peace or equilibrium in this transient world. The only way to find that is to go deeper within. That is the essence of the shloka. Moving on to shloka number 67. It is Indriyanam hi charatam yanmano anuvidhiyate tadasya harati pragyam vayuranavami vambhasi. Meaning, whatever wandering sense the mind follows after, it robs him of his intuitive vision, just as the wind carries away a boat on the waters. Explanation. Even a single uncontrolled sense can rob one of the realization of intuitive wisdom. Therefore, the process is of complete purification, constant vigilance. This illustration can be further elaborated. Individual soul rows the boat on the waters of the world process. Individual soul is Jiva, you and me. The intellect is the oar, and the senses provide for the gusts of winds that work upon the sail of the mind. Thus, the boat is driven away from the right course. It becomes caught in the whirlpool of delusion. It drifts along the currents of distraction. Pragya, or intuitive vision, is the boat which is meant to carry the soul across the ocean of the world process. An aspirant, therefore, should not allow even a single sense to remain uncontrolled. He has to be persistent in his effort. He must continue to root out the egoistic vasanas, subtle desires from the depths of his mind until all the senses are mastered. Contrariwise, he must continue to control his senses until the entire unconscious is lit up with the light of intuitive wisdom. Both movements are interdependent. When this boat is tied to the immutable rock of Atman, or the soul, with the help of the rope of Samadhi or superconsciousness, it is led to the state of self realization beyond this ocean of the world process. So, that is the deeper meaning of this shloka. Moving on to shloka number 68 of chapter 2. तस्माद्यस्य महाबाहो निगृहीतानि सर्वशः इन्द्रियाणीन्द्रियार्थेभ्यः अस्तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता. Therefore, O mighty armed Arjuna, one whose senses are completely restrained from the sense objects, his intuitive wisdom is firmly established. So, Lord Krishna is gently guiding us through this process, one step at a time. Arjuna is addressed by Lord Krishna as a great armed hero. This is the explanation. It is to indicate that true heroism lies in controlling the senses and directing the mind to the truth or Atman, because the mind will always want to do things that are pleasant, not necessarily beneficial or good. So it has to be trained. Such a hero can attain true victory in the battle of life, and um, that victory is self-realization, mukti, nirvana. So, according to Katha Upanishad, the self-born Brahman created the senses with outgoing tendencies. Therefore, one sees the external world and not the Atman. Your eyes are looking outwards, the ears are hearing from outside, the nose is smelling outside smells, the taste is touching outside things, and the um, body is for feeling different surfaces of pleasure and pain. So, therefore, all these senses are intentionally created externally, so we get into this maya or illusion. But a hero, that's why he's called a hero, because he goes against the current and figures out a way to find the self. So, some rare heroes endowed with the aspiration of attaining immortality turn their senses inward and perceive the self within. So, that is the beautiful explanation of this shloka. And then, talking about the karmic impressions, there are different karmas through which we go through this journey towards pragya or intuitional wisdom. But the impressions of kleshas or afflictions exist in different forms, so we'll briefly discuss that. So the first one is prashupta. So when we are children, or when babies are born, they are very innocent, but at that time their karmic impressions from their previous embodiments are latent, they have not come up yet, sort of like a seed. it hasn't germinated at this point. So the second state becomes vichinna. Vichinna is overpowered love veiled by hatred, as in general people. Most people are um, fine, they will talk okay, very pleasant, but if pushed or if anything happens to their comfort zone, then their vicious nature will come out, or anger will come out, and so on. So it's like having a beautiful carpet on the top, but underneath there's a lot of dirt that needs to be constantly cleaned. So this is the process. The third one is, the third state is udara. People who are violent, or they are not nice, they are generally very aggressive, very violent, and so on. So they are very generous with their anger, so to speak. And the fourth state is tanu. Tanu is thinned out state. And as you go deeper and deeper into your meditation or spiritual practices, and you become aware that these are not your friends, they are your enemies: anger, lust, greed, um, all these, jealousy. So all, then what happens is that you start to control them, and they start thinning out. So slowly, and this is for sadhakas, for spiritual aspirants, that they are now making progress on this path, and therefore these gross tendencies and vrittis, are vasanas, are being more and more subtle and getting in the purification state, till it becomes dagdha. Dagdha means burnt up. So when you burn up a seed, it can no longer germinate. It can, you can enjoy the popcorn, but if you throw the popcorn on mud, it will never grow, because the seeds burnt up already. Much in the same way, when the vasanas become dagdha, these subtle impurities, when they are totally eradicated, then intuitive wisdom shines like the sun. So think of all these impediments like the dark clouds that are obscuring the view of the sun. And when the dark clouds move away through our effort, then the sun comes with all its radiant light. That is the meaning of this. And we will move on to shloka number 69 in tomorrow's satsang. This is Swami Nikhilananda. Hari Om Tat Sat.